take 5 minutes and make sure every single day that you are clicking this check mark right here. Okay. So this check mark right here and doing attendance in every single class. And like I said, it won't seem like a big deal right now. Okay. But, when they're telling you either you got to go to Saturday school or you've got to retake the class, well, both of those options suck. Okay. When we talk about 5 minutes, this summer, I didn't know who this kid was, by the way. I actually met him this year, and it took everything in me just to keep myself composed. This summer, I did summer school. Okay. And I had a kid, and I think I told y'all this earlier in the year, but I got to repeat this. I had a kid who, to get credit for a class, okay, he had to take one test. That's it. He had to take one test, and he didn't even have to pass it. He could have gone and get C on everything. He had an entire summer to take one test. It would have taken 5 minutes to log on and guess C on the whole test, log off. Congratulations. You get credit for this class and you don't have to take this class again. Okay. He never took it. And like the last day, like I kid you not, I sent a text message to this kid every single day all summer long. And that last day I sent like 10. I'm like, dude, I'm not kidding. You're going to have to retake this whole class. All you got to do is log on and fail the test. And he would not do it. And I ended up subbing a class this year, and I'm going through the roll and I say his name. And I'm like, oh my, you're so-and-so? He's like, yeah, why? And I'm like, you got a million text messages from me this summer, didn't you? And he's like, oh, you were the person that kept texting me? I'm like, yeah. And it took everything in me not to be like, why would you not? It took 5 minutes, and I just had to not say anything. And it was so hard, for me to be like, what were you thinking? But now he has to redo the entire class. Okay. Because he wouldn't log on for 5 minutes and fail a test. Okay. And so that's kind of how I feel with kids that won't do their attendance is, either you're giving up Saturdays for no reason you're going to spend 3 hours on a Saturday because you wouldn't spend 5 minutes at home just logging in and quickly doing your attendance. Okay. So, I just want you guys to take care of yourselves. I mean, it's got to suck to have me. I mean, that's what Irene says anyways. It's got to suck to have me as a teacher as it is, right? Can you imagine having me for a second year? I said that you say that it sucks to have this class. And so I was saying, can you imagine having me for 2 years, That's got to suck even worse, right? So anyways, guys, if you earn credit, I want you to get that credit. So please, please, please take care of your attendance. We've talked about that next Friday is going to be a remote day. So it doesn't matter if we're quarantined or not. Next Friday, everybody will be remote. Next Friday. The school board voted, I don't know why, but they voted to have a certain day. So they changed the calendar and they have certain days, and there's not a whole lot of them, but next Friday is apparently one day where we still have school, but everybody's remote that day. Almost like we've been quarantined, but we're not going to be quarantined. It's a remote day. Yeah, whole week of ISD. Now, here's what sucks about it. Guess who still has to be here? Me. I have to show up. Students stay home that day. And so that day, obviously, I'll try to make an assignment that you can do at home by yourself, but I'll still be on Zoom. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the point because I'm still going to be on Zoom. I don't know. They do stuff that I don't understand, but it was just a talk. Well, in the end, if you join, and I'll be happy with it because at least you're hearing stuff. At least I get to talk with y'all. You don't know how bad it sucks. A part of what I love about teaching is getting to just talk with kids. And so, like, I love my job, even when, like, the days when kids are ornery and, you like leave going, why do I do this? I still love those days, and so, when nobody joins Zoom, it's so depressing. Like, I just miss kids. So anyways, if you want to join Zoom, right here is the way to join Zoom right here. Okay. And on that day, I will give you the option of typing the answers in. Any day you join by Zoom, instead of writing the answers on paper, you can just type the answers into chat and I count it as your work. Okay. So I've tried to make it easy when you join Zoom to, it'll be 9:22, just second period. Actually, you could join at any time. So like, matter of fact, let me show you this real quick. When you go into the assignment right here, so to get to your assignment, you go to 4-6 weeks, and then you click on the week that says current week. And then I always list out the times. You can join. So let's say, I'm not saying this is any of you guys, but we're going to pretend that there's a kid that likes to stay up really late. Just pretending, okay? That there's a teenager somewhere that stays up late, I don't know, playing PlayStation. Just making up something here, hypothetically, okay? And he gets to stay home that day and do remote, but he doesn't want to be up at 9:22, okay? Well, let's say you're up at 12:52. You can still join at 12:52, even though you're not in my 5th period class. So you can join any of these, okay? So let's say that you don't wake up till 1:40. You can join my 1:44 one, okay? So I do it every period. You don't have to join your period. You can join anytime. And then, like I said, just type the answers into the chat. You do a private chat is what you'll do. So you'll click on my name. Don't send it to everybody. And then you'll just type in your answers, and then I count your answers for that day. So that way you don't have to write it down on paper and take a picture and submit the picture, because I know that sometimes sucks. So, all right. Then of course, when you're looking for the assignment, you always look for that day's date. You know, right there's the assignment if you want to do the assignment on your own. All righty. So with that being said, today we are reviewing for a test. I know, like I said, that we're sick and tired of tests. So we want to talk about what we can do to make this easier. All right. Do you need a pencil? There you go. Pencil. Got a pencil, got a pencil, got one. Oh, need one. There you go. All right. So when we take a look and we see questions like this, or look at that one. Doesn't that look insane right there? Okay. We want to talk about how we can make those easy. All right. And one of the things that we have been kind of talking about in here is, if you can take care of the big numbers, even if you get the problem wrong, I'll count it right. So I told you I'm going to be very friendly on this test. What I need you to be able to do is take care of the big numbers. Now, if you can't take care of the big numbers, that is kind of on you, because we don't have to know any rules or anything. We just simply got to type big numbers into the calculator. So if you know how to do that and you still get the answer wrong, so in other words, usually there's going to be 2 answers that have the right big number. So if you can get one of those 2 answers, I'll count it right on the test. Does that make sense? Okay. So look at question 1. How many big numbers do you see there? Yeah, I only see one big number. What's that big number? The 5. Now, there are parentheses here, but so let me, this thing's waking up. Let's see if I can get this to wake up. It's like, I don't want to work today. There we go. All right. So we do have a 5 here, and that 5 is in parentheses. But is there an exponent on the outside of the parentheses right here? No, there's nothing on the outside. So in the end, this is just 5. So my answer has to have just a basic 5, okay? Now, this 5 doesn't count because you see that 2 on the outside of the parentheses? Yeah, that 2 can't be there, all right? So this is not an option. This has a 5, but the 5's on the bottom. Is there anything that tells me the 5 should be on the bottom? No. So this is not an answer. Now, both of these have 5s. So on the test, if you were to put either one of these, I would count it right, because you took care of the big number. Okay. So I feel like that's going to really help y'all out on these types of questions. Okay. So you take care of the big number and you're going to be good. Now, the other thing that we try to do, so there's lots of rules, but there's one rule that I like for y'all to really have memorized, and that is add up all your letters. Okay. So if you don't know what else to do, at least add up all your letters. So right here, I have 4 B's. So right here, I have 4 B's. And then right here, I have 2 B's. How many B's do I have altogether? So yeah, I got 4 B's here and 2 there. So 4 plus 2 would be what, 6? So I have 6 B's altogether. Does that make sense? Which of these answers shows that we have 6 B's? Yeah, B. But like I said, if you struggle with that part, you'll still get the right answer as long as you get that big number right there. Okay. So hopefully that's how we're going to make this test a little bit easier. Okay. I just want to see you taking care of the big number because you can throw it in the calculator if you need to. And here's an example. So right here, do we have a big number? The 2, right? Now it's in parentheses. So if it's in parentheses, we got to put the parentheses. But this one has an exponent on the outside of the parentheses. If there's an exponent on the outside, we need that as well. But now you can type that whole thing into the calculator. So we'll go to calculator. And yes, very good. So we'll go parentheses 2, close parentheses. Remember that to get any exponent you want, it's this house top button right there. And then 3. So all we did was type this into the calculator, exactly how it looks. We got 8. So it cannot be, obviously not D because it doesn't even have an 8. This has an 8, but the 8's on the bottom. Should the 8 be on the bottom? No, there was nothing that said the 8 was on the bottom. And so it's one of these two. Now, actually, I know it's not B as well because it still has the parentheses with an exponent on the outside. Your final answers can't have parentheses with the exponents on the outside. That means you didn't do anything. So it can't be that one either. So what's the only one? Yeah, C's the only one that has that 8 right there. But like I said, so what you're going to see is that if you take care of the big number, there's times there's only one answer. And that's what I want y'all to see. And we see that on the STAR test as well. Okay. Where kids will take care of the big number and it leads to the answer. And you never have to worry about dealing with all these rules. Okay. And so that's why we're really stressing take care of the big numbers. All right. So look at number 3. Okay. This just looks crazy right here. Okay. But I want to show you that all we're going to do is take care of the big numbers. Okay. So I'm going to write this down. There's a fraction bar, so I'm going to write down the fraction bar. All right, so what's the first big number? 54. It's in parentheses, so we're going to put the parentheses. Is there an exponent on the outside of the parentheses? No. What's the next big number? 24. It's in parentheses. Is there an exponent on the outside of the parentheses? Yes, that too, so we got to include it. All right, is there a number? Okay, now we got a number on the bottom. What's the number on the bottom? 36. And it's in parentheses, so I'm putting the parentheses. Is there an exponent on the outside of the parentheses? No. So, all right, so all I did, essentially, now I don't want you to do this, but essentially this is what I did. I got rid of all the letters and their exponents. Does that make sense? Now, I don't want you to do this because, at some point we want to come back and look at that, okay? But that's essentially what we're doing. And then we're just typing it into the calculator and letting the calculator do it. Okay. So let's go type this in the calculator and let the calculator take care of it. So we're going to calculator. So control divide. And we're typing in parentheses 54, close parentheses, parentheses 24. Now make sure on the 24, we're putting a squared. And then on the bottom, we're going parentheses 36, close parentheses. So that's all we got to do. Okay. Did it die? I apologize. So hit enter. All right, and we got 864. So they just brought these calculators back to me. And if they lit up green, I handed them out because I figure if they were green, then they were good. But apparently not. Let's see what this sucker says. Is it charged? All right, this one should be good. There you go. All right. So we got 864. And so we go back to our paper. Two answers here have 864. So we're going to mark off this and mark off this. Now, the rest of this question right here. So the rest of this right here is kind of tough. Okay. So if you don't know how to do this part right here, like I said, if you get one of these two that say 864, I'm counting it right on your test. Okay. And so this is the thing that we really have to stress is take care of those big numbers. Tomorrow, we're reviewing for the test as well. Tomorrow, I'm gonna see if you can do it. So tomorrow, we're gonna let you do it on your own. And of course, if you can't, we're gonna help you. Okay. But tomorrow, we want to see if you can do this, on your own. Okay. All right. So what will we do here? I mean, this right here, it's kind of long. And so I personally, unless you're really good at this, I'm guessing between B and C. And I'm not going to lie, if C's an option, I'm probably going with C right there. Now, is C actually the answer? Let's see. I'm just going to focus in on the X's real quick. If we distributed that would give me X to the 8. So I'd have 8 plus 5 X's. That would give me 13 X's. And then on the bottom, we would subtract 8. So 13 minus 8 would give me 5 X's. Yep, C was the answer. Because this says 3, and it should have been 5 X's. Now, like I said, if you're not good at that, follow strategy. Just guess between the two. If C's an option, I would always go with C. All right, number 4 is not going to be on your test. So really, after tomorrow, you'll never see 4 again for the rest of this year. Okay, it's not tested. We just don't talk about it. The big thing with this is that this fraction exponent right here only goes with the M. So the 8 is not underneath the radical. So we can get rid of those two. And then we got cowboy rides the horse. Y'all remember doing this yesterday? So the cowboy's on top and the horse is on the bottom. So the cowboy rides the horse. The cowboy gets to go inside of the house, but the horse has to stay on the outside. So the answer would be D. Not going to be on your test. If this was a star tested question, we would do 1 million of these because it's easy and we would want to make it easy. So, all right. Okay, now we did this yesterday, and I actually want to see this on your calculator today because I didn't get a chance yesterday to walk around because y'all didn't have calculators. Okay, so I'm going to do the first one, and I'm going to walk around and make sure y'all know how to do the second one. So if you weren't here yesterday, watch up real quick because I'm going to be walking around and making sure that y'all know how to do this. So do this with me real quick. All right. So grab your calculators. So we're going to type this into the calculator real quick. So we're going to go the square root. Now, the square root button, you're going to hit Control and X squared. So Control and X squared right there to get that. So go to regular calculator, Control and X squared. It was 48. So you're going to hit enter and we get 6.9. I need you to write down. So this is one of the things I'm looking for. Write down 6.9 right here. So write down 6.9. You get it? So square 48. So square root will be Control X squared. And then type in 48. Yep. Type in 48, hit enter, and then that's your decimal. So we're writing that down. Okay. All right. And then we're going to type in our answers until we get one. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. They can trick you. In this question, they actually do try to trick you. If you do all of these, you're going to get more than one answer. Okay. And so on the STAR test, we've never seen this. But if you're ever worried that you are going to get tricked, start with the biggest number right here. Whatever's the biggest number on the outside, if this is correct, that has to be the answer. Okay. So we're going to start with this right here. Yeah. So whatever one has the biggest number on the outside, so like this 8 right here, if this has 6.9, that's your answer. Okay, whatever has the biggest number on the outside. Now on the star test, we've never seen that. On the star test, there's only one correct answer. So we're going to type in 8 and then do your square root again. And it was 8 square root of 6. Hit enter. Okay, so these do not match. So that's not an answer. So it's not A. We're going to type in B and we get 4 square roots of 3. Is that the other one that works? So wait, if 4 square roots of 3, then 4 is it, because 4 is the bigger number. So hold on, so let me type it in real quick. 4. Oh, that 6.9 was actually right here, wasn't it? Not that. I thought you were saying that was 6.9. 4 square roots of 3. Oh, 4 square roots of 3 does work. Okay, so 4 square roots of 3 is 6.9. So that's probably our answer. What about 6? If 6 square roots of 8 works, then that's our answer. So let's see. Okay, no. Yeah, so this is definitely our answer. Now, I think D also works. 2 square roots of 12, but 2 is smaller. So 2 square roots of 12. So that also works. So you always go with the one that has the bigger number on the outside. So 4 square roots of 3 would be our answer. Now, like I said, you don't have to worry about that, okay? As you are doing this, so on this one, if there's more than one answer, the first answer you get, I want you to put down as your answer, okay? Because the STAR test, they never try to trick you. They just have one answer on it, okay? So I'm going to walk around. I want to see you type this into your calculator and write down the decimal, then type it in and find the one that matches, okay? And I'm going to walk around just to make sure you know how to do it, okay? So how do we type that in? You type in 260. Okay, so write down 14.6. Write that down right there. Okay, now you're going to start typing in your answers. And just whichever one matches 14.6, that's your answer. Here, there's actually one right there. Okay, very good. And then you're just typing in your answers. Very good. Very good. Okay. So right here, as soon as you get that answer right there, just mark that as your answer. There you go. So it does look like there might be more than one answer, but like I said, the first one you get, mark that as your answer. Very good. Very good. There you go. Very good. Very good. All right. So guys, this right here, this should be easy. So on your test, this is what we're looking for, right? When we talk about getting the easy, very good. Very good. So if you can take care of the big numbers on those other questions and you can take care of questions like these right here, guys, you should pass your test, okay? So like I said, I don't want you to stress over this test and stress about all these rules that we learned with exponents. I want you to keep this test easy, all right? Do the big numbers and then, take care of these questions right here. All right. And then, of course, if you just don't know how to do it at all, then I want you to guess C, okay? So we're going to follow that strategy as well. All right, take a look at 7. Is there a big number? Yeah, right here, 125. So it's in parentheses, so 125. Now, outside of the parentheses, is there an exponent? Yes, 1/3, okay? All right, so I want y'all to type this into your calculator real quick. I want to make sure that you know how to make this an exponent and a fraction, okay? So we're going to your calculator. By the way, there's nobody online, but that last question, we ended up getting A right there. Just if you're watching the video, we ended up getting A right there. So, all right. So this one right here, I want y'all to type this in. I'm going to walk around. I just want to make sure that you know how to type this in, especially how to get the fraction or how to get the exponent and then make it a fraction. So make it an exponent first and then make it a fraction. So the exponent is the house top. So put parentheses 125, close parentheses, And then once you get that number, then eliminate the two answers that it's not. Okay. So we're typing the big number with its parentheses into the calculator. So parentheses, 125. Close your parentheses, so we don't type any of the letters or their small numbers. But if there's a small number right there, hit the house top.
And what else?
So you're going to hit the house top. And then we need it to be a fraction, so you'll hit Control Divide, and that'll make that a fraction. There you go. So now type in that 1/3 right there. So the house top button is that button right there. Okay, and then we got to make it a fraction. So Control Divide. So Control Divide and make that a fraction. There you go. Now type in that 1/3 right there. Do what? Yep. And then you look at your answers and yep, very good. Okay, so the house top to get an exponent is that button right there, that house top. And then we want it to be a fraction, so hit Control Divide to make it a fraction. Okay, and then you're just typing in that 1/3 right there, or the 1/3 that's right there. Okay, we get it? Okay, so, oh, I think you hit like Control in that, and this is what we're gonna hit. So do your parentheses, 125, parentheses 125, closing, and then hit the, no control. Delete that real quick. There you go. Just hit that button. There you go. And then you'll hit Control Divide for your, there you go. All right, we get it? Very good. All right. So like I said, I just wanted to make sure that we knew how to, very good, how to plug that in. So you're going to hit, this is your house top. That lets you put in anything you want. Control Divide. There you go. And then type in that fraction right there. 1/3. All right. So we got 5. So it automatically eliminated these two. And just for those who are watching the video, sorry, I know everybody got it in here, but we typed in 125. And then this gives you your exponent. And then to make the exponent a fraction, you hit Control Divide, and we typed in 1/3. And the calculator did everything for you guys. So this is what we're talking about. If y'all take care of those big numbers, if you put either of those answers, I will count it right. Okay. So, and you know what it also could mean? It also could mean that we end up with more A's and B's actually, because I'm being, friendly on this test. Y'all may actually end up getting more of these right than normal. And I may having to give out. Don't forget, we're still doing sodas and snack cakes. Okay. So, make sure that you're, at least getting the big number. All right. Now, how do we do this part right here? So the one thing that I do ask y'all to remember is to add up all your letters, right? Well, unfortunately on this one, all I got are 6 A's and 12 B's. There's no other A's or B's to add. So it doesn't really, and neither of these say 6 or 12. So at this point, if you don't know what to do, you're guessing either B or D. It doesn't matter which one. What you should be doing is when we have parentheses, we do mountaintops. Mountaintops mean we multiply. So we're multiplying 6 times 1/3. Let your calculator do that if you're doing this, okay? If what I'm doing right now doesn't make sense, then don't worry about it. Okay, I'm gonna start a new one real quick. So we're gonna do 6 times 1/3 over 3. And calculator says 2, very good. So we're looking for the one that has a 2, and that would be D. Okay. All right. Okay, so on this one, we don't see any big numbers, right? So the one major rule that I ask us to kind of do is add up all the letters. So add up all the X's. Well, it's kind of hard because this is negative, right? But we can put that in the calculator. So we're just adding. That's the big thing, is we're adding up the X's. So we're doing 5 plus a negative 12. So if you go to your calculator and do 5 plus a negative 12, oh, I guess it helps if you actually put the negative sign. So I'm going to do that again. 5 plus a negative 12. There we go. and we get a -7. So if you remember, we had taught you guys to get rid of the negatives, okay, by flipping. But when it's a griddable, you can't flip it. So if we get -7, what do we got to put right here? -7, right? Now, remember that right here, this is only for positive or negative. You don't have to put a positive if it's positive or a plus sign, but you could. Numbers don't start to the second box. And I believe we're going to have to take this test online. Okay. So I've been trying to get as many tests as we could on paper, but I think this one we're going to have to take online. And so it's going to be a box like this. And so this is going to be -7. And you just write it like that. Okay. So the numbers always start in that second box right there. I don't necessarily think this one's easy, but I do think that there's a lot of y'all that could do this. Okay. Like I said, you just remember that one basic rule. Okay. That at least add up all your letters. And if you'll try to do that, like I said, you'll be surprised at what you get. Because that's the most basic rule, even though there's a lot of other rules. That's the most basic one. All right. Yep, I hear you. All right, number 9. This is a tough question. Are there any big numbers? No. I've got a fraction right here. Okay. So it's hard to even add up like all your U's or all your V's. We could probably eliminate 2 of these, but in general, this is just really tough. So on this particular one, what would be a great strategy? Guess C, probably, right? Now, there are 2 that I do believe y'all could eliminate, and neither one of them are C. So, but I believe you should somewhat know that it can't be A or B, because if there's parentheses here, we should be doing something. Okay, it's not a final answer till we've gotten rid of the parentheses, and so these 2 right here can't possibly be the answer. Unfortunately, both of these have 2 V's, because that's the one thing I knew for a fact was the 2 V's, right? So it's either going to be one of these 2. So at that point, I would probably guess C, but here's how you would do it. Because there's parentheses here, we would do our mountaintops. So we would multiply 3/2 times 2. So if we multiply 3/2 times 2, we get 3. Was there one of them that said 3? Remember, one was a fraction. Yep, right there. So the answer would be D. So in the end, if you guess C, yeah, you might get that one wrong, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Like I said, this is going to have some tough questions on it. I don't think that there's anything like this on the test, but let's just talk about it. What's the first thing we always take care of? The big number, right? Okay. So the big number is 5. There's no other big numbers. Is there anything that tells me that this 5 should be on the bottom? No, there's nothing that tells me. Remember, this negative exponent goes with the x. There's nothing that tells me 5 should be on the bottom. So we can eliminate anything that doesn't have a 5 or has the 5 on the bottom. So it can't be A. It can't be D. It has a 5, but it's negative. There's nothing. I don't know why that would be a negative. So if you can at least tell me it's one of these 2, then you're good. Now, I don't think they put this on the test, but how do we get rid of a negative exponent? Y'all remember? We flip it to the bottom. And so when we flip it to the bottom, it becomes positive. Guys, if you didn't know this, what should you have guessed? Should have guessed C, and you would have got that one right. Okay. Hopefully y'all remember the final. Did I ever show y'all what a passing final looked like? If I did, I don't think everybody was here. Okay. So I told y'all that the more questions there are, the more C's effective, right? So y'all are going to think I'm lying when I show y'all this, and some of y'all might have already seen it. But this was a passing final. Look how many C's he gets. Isn't that crazy? This kid passed. There is no such thing as guessing too many C's. He took care of all the easy questions. He didn't know very many easy questions, did he? Now, this wasn't a good grade. This was barely passing, but this kid passed. Okay. And look at all those C's. It's crazy. Isn't that nuts? Now, I tell y'all this because on the STAR test, I have kids that they get the really easy questions, just like this kid did. And then they are honest with themselves and they're like, yeah, I don't know the rest of this. And they guess a buttload of C's. Okay. Now, like I said, it's not going to, you do have to take care of the easy ones. Okay. And that didn't give him a great grade. That didn't give him an A or a B. They gave him like he barely passed. He passed right where he needed to, but he took care of all the easy ones. Okay. And he guessed a buttload of C's and he followed my strategy perfectly. Okay. And so there's never a thing as such a thing as I'm guessing too many C's if it's hard. Okay. It's only when it's easy that it's bad to guess C. All right. How are we doing on time? Okay. Yep. Oh, we're doing fine. Yeah, I'm not worried about those. Those are review. Okay. Yeah, we're doing fine. So right here, do we have any big numbers on number 11? Yep, we got 2 of them, right? 3 and 6. Now, if there's a fraction bar, we're going to draw a fraction bar, 3 and 6. Those are the only 2 big numbers I got. No parentheses. All you got to do is stick that in your calculator. Okay, so let's go stick this in the calculator. So I'm going to go. Now, on this one, we don't want a decimal answer. I know yesterday I taught y'all how to get a decimal. We want the fraction. So 3/6, just hit enter. So the fraction here is 1/2, right? Now, here's what I want to stress. Where's the 2? On the top or the bottom? The bottom, right? So when you see this fraction, it's telling you put the 2 on the bottom, okay? So go look at your answers. If there's not a 2 on the bottom, mark it off. A doesn't have 2 on the bottom. B does. Okay, the rest of those do right there. That's unlucky. Normally you can eliminate 2 of these. That's kind of unlucky. There's 3 of these that have 2 on the bottom. All right, so now, when I look at all 3 letters, why would I choose C first? Does anybody know? Look at all your letters. Why would I pick C first? Why wouldn't I look at A's or B's? Because there's only one C up there. Does that make sense? There's only one C. Where's it at? The top or the bottom? The top. That means I have to have dadgummit. They all have one C on top. Okay, well, that didn't do any good. But normally you get to mark off one right here. Boy, I got to take this question off. It's completely ruining my strategies here. Okay, so at this point, if you don't know what you're doing, then you're going to guess one of these. And if C's an option, I'm probably going with C. So what should you do? Well, whenever you got stuff on top and stuff on bottom, you actually subtract. Now, like I said, if you don't know this rule, I don't want you stressing over it. Okay, that's where, hey, I told you as long as you got the big number that you would get the right answer, right? So if a question looked like this, how many answers would I count right? I would count 3 answers right because 3 answers have the big number right. Does that make sense? So I'm going to be very friendly on this test. You just got to take care of that big number. All right. So what you would do is subtract 5 minus 3 would be 2. And then the 2 A's would have to be on the bottom because that's where the most A's were. So which of these puts 2 A's on the bottom? It would be D because it put 2 A's on the bottom. Now, like I said, if you don't know that rule, I don't want you stressing over that, okay? You take care of the big numbers and then try to add up all the letters as much as you can. And if you get the wrong answer past that, we get the wrong answer. That's all right. All right, number 12. Do we have big numbers again? All right, so 22/4. So let's go plug this one in. Just looking at my answers, 2 of these have an 11, 2 of these have 18. We're going to get to eliminate 2 here. So that's what we're usually looking for. Usually you should be able to eliminate at least 2. So we just go type in the 22/4, hit enter, and we get 11/2. So 11 is going to be on top, 2 is going to be on the bottom. I hope this is making sense when I say 11 is going to be on top and 2 is going to be on the bottom. Is that kind of making sense right there? So I don't want you to overthink the fraction. Keep it simple. 11 on top, 2 on the bottom. All right, go look at your answers. So A and B both have 11 on top and 2 on the bottom, but C and D do not. Mhm. Yep. Past that, the rest of this is kind of hard. So this is where, unless you're really good with this, I would I would probably guess at this point, especially on the test. At this point, you know I'm going to count your answer right no matter what you pick. Does that make sense? Okay. This is where I don't want you to stress. If I had to pick one of these to do, I would work the B's because the B's have positive numbers. And so I would remember we're subtracting when one's on top and one's on bottom. So 6 minus 5 is 1. And the 1B would be on bottom. So it would have to be A. That's the only one that has 1B on bottom. So the answer would be A. I want to show you this real quick, and this will be our last question right here. So guys, this is a word problem, maybe, if I can stupid. Okay, never mind. Okay, so here you got this word problem, and I'll be the first to admit word problems are confusing, right? I hate to read. But I realize that this has something to do with what we've been doing, right? So, because it's got all these exponents. So you may not have a clue what this means, but I know it has something to do with this right here. So what's the one thing I ask y'all to do? Take care of the bigs. So in this case, I would multiply the bigs. What's 3 times 5? Well, I'm not going to guess these two. And then I would try to add the littles. So if I added the littles right here, I got 2 M's here and 1 M right here. What's 2 plus 1? 3. Do one of these have 3 M's? Yeah, that one right there.